Hey, what's good everybody? It's your boy Seethruthescript, and today's video is going to be fairly short as I'm sure there'll be more and more info that pours out over time. However, today we are going to be discussing the CEO of Moderna Inc., Stéphane Bancel. Stéphane Bancel is a French billionaire businessman. He is the chief executive officer of the American pharmaceutical and biotechnology company Moderna, known for its COVID-19. Before joining Moderna, Bancel was the CEO of French diagnostics company Biomerio. This video is going to attempt to solidify the connection between the Jesuits and their influence on the CEO of Moderna Inc. Now, granted, I'm currently discussing one of the biggest heavy hitters in the pharmaceutical industry today. It wouldn't be right if I skipped out on explaining the true origins of the word pharmacy. In today's modern age, we are well aware of the pharmacy. Granted, many of us have had to go to one at some point in our lives to be administered a drug or a chemical concoction of some sort, which is supposedly going to provide healing. But what if I were to tell you that the root meaning of the word pharmacy that we hold in such high regards is actually drenched in deception? And I'm sure most of you watching are already aware of the wickedness within that industry, but I don't think enough effort was put into simply explaining why we call pharmacists what we do in the first place, as that alone explains so much. Now, as most are aware, our language has tons of remnants of the Greek and Latin languages. In the Greek language, there is a word Pharmakeia, which is where the word pharmacy derives from. Now, let's go over a few of the meanings for Pharmakeia. First being the use or the administering of drugs. Secondly, it simply refers to it as poisoning. Thirdly, it refers to it as sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry and fostered by it. Lastly, the deceptions and seductions of idolatry. I must mention, Pharmakeia is referenced in the Bible, New Testament specifically, which was written by the Greeks a total of 3 times. In Galatians chapter 5 verse 20, Revelation chapter 9 verse 21, then lastly in Revelation chapter 18 verse 23. Remember, it's the Society of Jesus controlling our world. They use the Bible as their guiding script to play out their cruel and immoral agendas by reversing and flipping meanings. Also, for time's sake, I won't go through this whole article, but I highly recommend people checking out the full article published in 2016 that I have on the screen, as it discussed Moderna's rise to the industry prior to and how the company relied on secrecy as one of their tactics. Allow me to read a few bits from this article though that sheds some light on Moderna and its product. Quote number 1, Moderna just moved its first 2 potential treatments, both vaccines, into human trials. In keeping with the culture of secrecy, though executives won't say which diseases the target, and they have not listed the studies on the public federal registry clinicaltrials.gov, listing is optional for phase 1 trials, which are meant to determine if a drug is safe, but most companies voluntarily disclose their work. Quote number 2, I would say that Moderna is better suited for diseases where treatment for short duration is sufficiently curative, so the toxicities caused by delivery materials are less likely to occur, said Caitlin Carico, a pioneer in the field who serves as a vice president at BioNTech. And when you think about what she said in 2016, and then you think about the product they have provided the masses now and its short duration of effectiveness, that will allow you to understand why we're constantly making people get. Now, quote number 3, we think that when the world does get to see Moderna, they're going to see something far larger in its scope than anybody's seen before, said Peter Kolinski, whose RA Capital Management owns a stake in the company. Well, guys, let's be honest. Let me know in the comments below if you think Mr. Peter was right or wrong about his prediction back in 2016. So before I get into this video, for those who are new here, I use the practice of English Gematria, which is the practice of assigning a number to each letter in the alphabet. When you spell out a word or a phrase, you get a numerical value at which you seek the hidden patterns within them, factoring things like the date numerology paths, day or days left in the year, and things like date duration, all very important when decoding. Now, the first thing that I want to point out regarding Stefan Bancel is his name itself and its connection to none other than the Jesuit order. And notice that his name and the Jesuit order are a 2-for-2 match, with the exception of a reflection being 48 and 84. Moving on, notice Stefan Bancel's birthday is on July 20th, which is the 201st day of the year. This number is a number we talk about practically every video regarding none other than the Jesuit order, which equals 201. Also, when mentioning the number 201, we must not fail to discuss the event 201 coronavirus pandemic simulation held in New York on October 18th, 2019, just months short of the legitimate coronavirus pandemic, which was sponsored by none other than the World Economic Forum, Johns Hopkins University, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. What's interesting is on Moderna's website, they list their partners, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is listed as one of their partners. Worth noting, Bill Gates' full name, William Henry Gates, also equals 201. Quick Jesuit fact, it was Catherine the Great of Russia that saved the society almost single-handedly. She protected the 201 Jesuits she had acquired in 1772 with the first partition of Poland, and insisted that they continued their apostolic work as Jesuits. Moving on, it's undoubtable that the Roman Catholic Church is the most diverse and powerful religious organization in the world. Diverse meaning with their influence in literally every facet of life. Now, that being said, Mr. Stefan Bancel was given the Pontifical Hero Award from the Vatican's Pontifical Council in 2021.
Stefan started seeing data that convinced him this novel coronavirus would soon become a global infectious scourge. He pivoted the company to go all in on a COVID vaccine, risking massive amounts of capital, even with the US government's infusion of cash from Operation Warp Speed. The speed with which Moderna was able to produce a viable candidate vaccine and enter human clinical trials was orders of magnitude faster than any previous vaccine. Despite the audacious gamble on an unproven vaccine, Stefan Bancel is quick to credit a dedicated team that he says sacrificed birthdays, family events, and more to work literally around the clock 7 days a week to bring the Moderna vaccine to fruition. He is especially proud of their commitment because they knew their Herculean efforts would be so impactful on human life across the globe. We show our true gratitude by awarding Stefan Bancel and his team with the Pontifical Hero Award for Inspiration, for leadership and steadfast dedication to protecting all of humanity.
Notice the event began on May 6th and it ended on May 8th, but interesting that it started on May 6th, being that's a date that's written 5/6, like the number 56, also a number we talk about very frequently, being that Society of Jesus, their official title, equals 56, alongside which equals 56. Mind you, Moderna is heavily behind the mRNA technology, and the COVID-19 made by Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna are the first to complete all clinical trial stages and be licensed for use in a suspiciously fast time period. This technology has been seeing quite a bit of interesting adverse reactions coming from their product. And this technology that Moderna offers is something that I have discussed on previous podcast shows, and I do have a video coming up in the near future that will talk more about the technology. Moving on, another thing that caught my attention surrounding Moderna was the date numerology for when they became incorporated as a company. That date was July 22nd of 2016, with prime numerology of 65 and a life lesson of 38. Notice the word pandemic equals 65 and 38. 38, alongside the word Moderna alone, which equals 38, matching with pandemic and the date numerology as to when this company was incorporated. And mind you, Moderna was not a company the masses ever really heard of prior to the pandemic. Next, you could see how the words Vatican and Moderna have a 2-for-2 match in the ordinal ciphers of 70 and 119. That's no coincidence, considering the Pope heavily advocates for this man's technology and company, as well as gave him an esteemed award within the Vatican. Now, you can also see here that the CEO of Moderna, Bancel, was on his 155th day of being 48 years old when the first from Moderna was put inside of the masses' arms. And that's interesting because the word equals 155. This whole narrative has been coded accordingly from the key players to the key events. Moving on, there was an article that recently surfaced on February 11th regarding the CEO of Moderna, Bancel, selling 10,000 shares of company stock valued at 1.8 million in total, and the next day disappearing from Twitter without a warning. This led to a lot of speculation considering the increasing numbers of stories of recipients of the mRNA suffering from things such as heart inflammation and other issues. Now, lastly, I want to end this video with a clip of Bancel himself discussing his ties with the Jesuits since a very young age, and I gotta give credits to Eric777, a great researcher in the community, for finding this clip. Now, that being said, I appreciate everybody who tuned in and watched the whole video. If you enjoyed or learned anything, please be sure to drop a like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Also, follow your boy on the gram at Seethruthescript. Other than that, my links are in the description below. It's your boy Script. Peace and love. I'm out.
When we first started this interview, you said that you had a good remembrance of your years in France and at the Jesuits. Could you elaborate a little bit on this? Tell us, because you were at the Jesuits in Provence, in Marseille, first in your high school years, and then you moved to Versailles with Ginette for your prep school years. How would you rate the impact it has had on your life and your way to be the fantastic entrepreneur that you are now?
Thanks for the kind words. The impact being with Jesuit has had has been very profound. I mean, I actually started even before high school, in middle school. So when I was 12 years old is when I entered the Jesuit in Cesium. And the piece that has been remarkable for me is how the Jesuits live their faith, which is in action, is in doing, is in serving. Some of them live their faith, through prayer and through introspection. What I've always really admired and really resonated with me and my personality is serving in action. And I saw it every day, at École Provence, even at Ginette. But at Provence, I remember, the Father Jesuits, were always engaged with community, with people with problems, with people that were poor. And they will literally, get in the car and go and do work and help. And that's this action of serving has literally had a big impact on me. Sometimes people ask me, when the virus appeared in December 2019, did you spend a lot of time thinking about doing a vaccine or not? And I told them, no, I didn't spend even 1 minute thinking about it. I thought technology should be able to work. This virus that was appearing in China was going to hurt people. And so we started chasing and running after it. And this mindset of serving is really, really key to who I am, and I really owe it to Jesuits.
No inertia. You felt as soon as you captured the opportunity. Sorry to call it opportunity, but as soon as you captured the critical aspect of what was happening in China, you started moving immediately and serving the world in the future, and that's the Jesuit trademark.